Let's get our guest speaker up here. She's no stranger to us. Let me tell you about this young lady. She lives in SoCal. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a community leader. See, I'd like to have a lots of fun. She did a call on February the 12th this year that was major for me, and it was titled "Stop Making Excuses and Start Doing the Work." I'm gonna say that one more time. Stop making excuses and start doing the work. And matter of fact, if you do the work, you might be in Columbia with us. Without further ado, the great, the one and only Miss Heather Peery.
Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for just you being you. I mean, it's not a big deal to say, not that a big deal, but it's not too much to say that you are a legend in this business. And it's amazing that you do it every single day, Monday through Saturday, putting on calls like this for us so that we can grow. So thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to be on this call and seeing what you see in me. So everyone, if we could just give a clap for Al Thomas. Thank you for doing this. Can you imagine if we just didn't have this? Some of us, you guys get on this call. It's part of your routine, your morning routine, or maybe you listen to the recordings and it's part of your life. Sometimes I have to stop and say, whoa, I've been on ACN for a little bit and it's really become a part of my life. What if that part wasn't there? It'd be very different. ACN enhances our life so much in so many ways. We don't realize it once it's been a while. So thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. Hi, some of you guys, we just saw each other in Tahoe. So hello. It was really cool to see Mr. BK. I got to meet you in person. That was cool. That was a nice surprise. So today, you guys, I am wearing, it's graduation season here in our house. Our son is graduating high school at the end of this month. What? Already? So I'm wearing his jacket because I'm going to be talking about him today because he actually, I observed some things for him this past week in his past season. He's a swimmer and he hasn't been swimming long. He's actually pretty new at it. It was only his second swim season and he's in high school. So if you think about that, we're going to talk a little bit about perspective and just getting in our head. So how many of you that I can see, how many of you, raise your hand, participation, do you think that sometimes, or maybe a lot of time when it comes to ACN, you get in your head, maybe before a presentation, maybe before you're going to ask for that customer? How many of it would you say, honestly, like, I tend to get in my head? Maybe things like, what if I fail? What if I mess up? What if I sound not right? What if it doesn't come across right? What if they think I don't know, what if they think whatever they think because I'm doing this business? We just kind of get in our head, right? And as I was observing my son, I did sports in high school too. And so I'm kind of seeing him, start in the summer, doing lots of hard work, early mornings, long days, hard work in the summer. That's normal to me. I said, wow, that's good. I know the commitment it takes. I know the sacrifice it takes, because if you're an athlete, we have to sacrifice just a little bit more because we're just pushing our bodies more than the average person. You sacrifice going out at late nights, what you eat, your rest. So I'm watching him, but I'm also observing him, just how he's conducting himself when there's, a swim meet that comes up. Because if any of you did any type of, maybe not sports, maybe it's performing, or maybe at work you had to do speak in front of people, but we can get in our heads in those situations too. So it kind of just brought me back when I'd observe him, like, okay, this is his, let's say he's in high school, it's his very first meet. He could have gotten in his head of, okay, I just started, swimming. He was a junior when he started doing swimming and water polo. He could have gotten in his head and said, ooh, this is my first time and I'm in high school. These guys have been doing this since, when you do sports, you usually start in elementary school, 5, 6 years old. People start, by the time they get to high school, they're pretty dang good, and so I was just observing him just to see if anything like that was coming up for him. And I would just observe and watch him, and, it was really like, okay, maybe he's just going for it. Like, that's cool. Like, I just don't really see, he's different. There's different types of athletes, right? Like, you have like super intense ones where they're just like, put the music on and they get in the corner and they're punching around and they're getting focused and they're doing what they need to do, and then you have these other ones where like they just want to have fun and then they end up going all the way to the Olympics. You're like, what? So I didn't really want to speak much to my son too many things because I could tell that he was a different kind of athlete. I tended to be more intense. I was that type of person that was just like, don't talk to me. I'm gonna go in my corner. I need to focus and just, the whole thing, if you can relate to that. And so he was more like, he's cracking jokes, he's walking around, and I'm wondering, like, is he even focused? I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't need that. You know what I mean? Like, he's different kind of athlete. I'm just gonna be quiet, see what he does. And so as I would watch him, he was just, he was different, but not in a bad way. I observed him, he just went out and did what he needed to do. And I would, as the year would go on, and I just kind of watch. And then, this year, his senior year, I could tell a lot of improvement happened. We didn't put him in any, special training camps or anything to get better. He just did the same thing. He practiced all summer long, did a water polo season, then did swim. And it was just really interesting to me to watch him take on big pressure moments. And it really taught me as I watched him just do it. Because sometimes, the pressure of people watching or the pressure of maybe asking for that customer, or what we do that to ourselves, right? We put the pressure on. What if they say no? Then we're not going to get our goal. And that's being in our head, right? We make it really big. And so hopefully I can help someone today just kind of, look at things in perspective. So for him, this past week, we had a bid week. He participated in these league finals, right? So you have to, everything you do now at the end of the season, you have to qualify for, just kind of like our business. You want to qualify for the trip, you want to qualify for this, you got to do a certain amount. So in his league, you got to place a certain amount to get to this big meet, which in California is CIF. There's CIF prelims and there's CIF finals. And it just means the meaning of it is California Interscholastic Federation. Okay, it's the governing body for high school sports in California. But when you hear CIF, it's like, ooh, like if you made it to CIF, it's like, oh dang, you made it to CIF, wow, because now you're participating against all the people that qualified in all of Southern California you're going up against. So now when you place, it's like, this is what you placed in Southern California. So it's like a big deal. So I was super excited about that. I remembered that. So I'm like, whoa, Birdie, you're making it to CAF prelims. Like, that's a big deal, right? He doesn't really know. He doesn't really know what to compare it to. So I'm actually wearing his jacket because we're talking about him. So his first season, like very first swim season, he makes it on a relay team to the prelims. Like, this is his first season ever. Okay. He hasn't swam ever. Like nothing. Like he just started in his junior in high school. They taught him what they taught him, and then he makes it all the way to the prelims. And I'm like saying, perspective, like that's awesome. But he doesn't really know. I'm just swimming. I'm just doing what I'm doing. But I was like, this is really good. Like your very first swim season and you make it to the prelims. Like, wow. So this past week, his senior year, his past week, he had two big races. He makes it to prelims, which was like, okay, cool. But if we can make it to finals, like, wow, what a feat. Like this is only his, second swim season. They have different division. Division 1 is the best. And then it goes for Division 1, Division 4. His school is a Division 4 team. Okay, listen, like I'm going to go into like how our mind can work, right? So Division 1 is like super fast schools. It's the best. And then it goes to Division 4. That does it, right? It's just where it is. It depends on how big your school is, okay? So his school is Division 4. So remember, perspective, and kind of think about how you can put things in perspective for you, whether it's for ACN or just things in life. Maybe you're on a journey of personal growth. Maybe you're on a journey of healing emotionally, or maybe you're on some type of goals you're trying to reach, maybe financially. Maybe you're in the middle of trying to work on buying a home or work on buying a car or something that would be a little bit more than where you're at now. And as humans, we tend to what? Compare, right? I don't know why we do this, but there's no reason to, because we have to have perspective of where we've been and how much we've grown and know, and then just where we are. And I don't know why we throw it out the window. We just look at the person that's automatically on the tippity top, some billionaire, and we're like, yeah, but we're not like that. Or we just look at the SVP, yeah, but and we don't put in perspective the time it took, or perspective of the growth that had to happen to get to a certain point, right? And everyone has different things, different strengths, different weaknesses, different things they have to go through to get where they need to go. We just throw that out the window. We just automatically look what they are and where I'm not, which is negative, right? So he's Tuesday morning was prelims, super exciting day because anything you do, you have to qualify for Saturday. So I'm there for hours watching. It was super awesome. He qualifies for 4 events. And all I keep thinking perspective is, you just made it to CIF finals in 4 events? Like, this is your 2nd season swimming ever. So I'm super pumped. And, he's just kind of like, but I'm also watching for this CIF prelims race is also kind of like a pressure cooker because you got to qualify. There's a lot of people watching. There's better people now. Everyone is more to your speed now, and you got to qualify. So I know that, and I'm watching this, and I'm watching him, and guess what? He just goes out there and like, there's no signs of like in his head being nervous, asking me questions. I'm watching him talk to his coach. He's just like handling business, and I'm like, okay. Like, I like that. That's good. But I just thought maybe there'd be a little bit of I don't know, nervousness, maybe a little bit of second guess. I don't know, just something, right? I don't see that. I'm just watching him. And after each race, he goes back and he talks to his coach, and he's just like shaking his head. He's asking whatever he needs to ask, and okay, then leaves. And then he qualifies, and then he qualifies something else. And I'm just like, dude, that's awesome. And he's happy, but it's almost like, yeah, okay, we're going to Saturday. And I'm just like, you're qualified for Saturday. Like, I'm like so excited. Like, that's perspective thinking, like, you're so new. And then so Saturday comes, and I'm watching and observing him, and he's just, like I said, it's totally teaching me, but like, there wasn't a whole lot of emotion. And this guy is 17 years old. Say there isn't a whole bunch of emotion for it, and not like he was dead, but like he went there and like was there to take care of business. But I just thought it just stood out to me. It was super remarkable because now when you're on Saturday, now it's like even bigger because less people have qualified. You got the even faster people, and more people come, and there's just more pressure. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you do like Super Bowl, or like this is like Super Bowl right now. And I'm watching him, and he's the same how he always is. And it just really like taught me like, wow, this guy, you're not in your head at all. Like, he's doing well, he's getting fast times. And that's the other thing. When he's doing well, and for him and doing pretty fast, he didn't even get in his head about like, oh, I hope I don't lose it. Like, oh, I had a really good day today, I hope I could do it again. Like, he didn't even, that wasn't there. So he goes, he does his race. I was actually, bad habit, he qualified for this the 50 race, which is super fast. It's just there and back. Like, it's a super fast race. Like, start on one end, swim there, swim back, done. Okay. And I'm going, ooh, he didn't really race that a lot. Like, now he's with faster people. Like, I hope I'm doing that. He's not, like, geez, but I'm just thinking he's new. Look at me. Look at the difference. He's newer. This is the faster race, like a sprint. And now he's up against the best in like Southern California. How dare I think like that? But I'm being honest. I was just kind of thinking, right? Like, I don't want him to be embarrassed or like get last or whatever. And he's not thinking any of that. He's just like, I could do this. I could do this. Yeah. He just goes. And so that's speaking to me because there was no extra talk at all. It was just, it's the race. It is what it is. There was no extra, it's CIF finals and it's all the best schools, like there's 568 schools in Southern California, it's all the best schools and I got it. And everything hinges on this one race. Like, none of that. And I think sometimes, before we're going to do something that we haven't done before, we're filled with all kinds of dialogue in our head before that will keep us from doing what we can do. And our best is good enough. So maybe you get really crazy before a presentation, or you feel like everything hinges on this presentation. I don't want to mess this up for my team, or I got to get them in for, and we just put all this extra pressure when like Mr. Tony Kupis says, it's all about timing in that person's life. Like, put it in perspective. Like, how long have you been doing network marketing? How long have you been actually presenting, like on a scale, maybe you've never even owned a business before ever at all. And it's put it in perspective. You're growing. This is new. You have, hold on a minute. I'm on a call. Please don't open the door. Sorry, family stuff. So that was a big thing for me to watch from my 17-year-old son, was how he handled something he had never done before on a big scale, and how he just didn't get in his head. And then he did well. And then this was the kicker right here, where I said, wow, I didn't even say this. I didn't even showed him. I don't know where, he just, so he comes up and I'm saying, wow, that was great. You just got he got second in his heat. They had 2 heats. There was a championship heat and then there was a consolation one. So long story short, anyways, there's 2 heats. So he gets in that race in all of Southern California for his division. He gets 10th. That's top 10 in Southern California. That's really good, right? For his division, you could hear 10th place, or you could hear, yeah, perspective, 10th in all of Southern California for division, and it only being your 2nd season ever of swim. So when he comes up and he says what he gets and everything, and it's good, and when we're saying, we're encouraging him, wow, good job, this is so good, wow, like, because all this hard work is for this day. He's like, yeah, but it's division 4. And I'm like, what? Like, don't downplay the work and commitment that you've been doing since this past summer to now. That's a long season. Because remember, division 1 is the fastest and the best. And he says, yeah, but it's division 4. I'm like, how many of us tend to do that? Yeah, but it wasn't that great. Yeah, but it wasn't like so-and-so, because you have someone else in your head you think it should sound like and look like. Yeah, but yeah, right? He said that. It was like, let's correct that right now, because I need you to look at perspective. And I told him, I said, you're only 2nd season, only swimming ever. These people have been swimming since they were 9 or 6. And you just made top 10 in all of Southern California for your division. Come on, perspective. So what can you take back, home, you're home right now, but what can you take back with you when you are doing something? Maybe you're getting your customers, or you're doing certain IBOs, and you're like tracking, like, what can you put in perspective for you, instead of, yeah, but it's not this, yeah, but it's not that, but put in perspective, like, how much you've grown. Where were you just a few months ago? Where were you last year? Tend to look at that instead of us like focusing on the negative. So I just really want you guys to put that in perspective. Or maybe you did your presentation, and it's getting better and better, but then we can tend to say, yeah, but I wasn't as fluid. I didn't have all those stories in there, like, whoever, some SVP or VP. But how do we expect to get there unless we are starting, unless we're doing, right? How do we expect to get fluid unless some more time goes by and we're practicing those things, instead of just saying, we did it, like, that was great, or I gotta do a presentation, okay, let's just do it. Like, no emotion, no dialogue in the head, no, I hope this, I hope that, I hope I don't mess this up, I hope it better. No, just take care of it. Do the presentation. It's already done for you. It's already written out. All the information's already there. It's all what needs to be there is there, and you just need to give it. And then afterwards, you answer the questions, you take them through the process, and it's either a second exposure or yes, no, or customer. Like, that's it. What if we just thought that's it, instead of thinking so much and putting so much on it, and there's so much going on in here, and it can get so loud that it makes it so much more crazier than it needs to be. And that's what my son showed me, where he could have really freaked out for his first time being on a big sports stage in front of a lot of people, and he just handled it, like, managed emotion, like Mr. Tony Kupa says, manage emotions, keep those emotions just even keel, like Mr. Efren Tejada says. And so I saw that come into play, and it just really, really spoke to me as the athlete, as us doing this business, and just saw the emotion of this young man, 17 years old, who went out and just did it. And then when he was done. He was proud of the work he did, but there just wasn't a whole lot of talk in the head, none at all. And so that is just my encouragement to you guys today, to whatever you're doing in this business, or maybe you're doing something outside of here, just in life. How can you just put that in perspective of, instead of just looking at where you're not, where you're not, where you're not, where you're not. So that is my encouragement to you, is to put it in perspective where you're at right now in your business, or where you're at with your relationship, or where you're at with your emotional healing. Look at just where you are right now, but look at the work that you have done. Put it in perspective. Things take time. Look at the hard work you put in already. Look at how much you've grown already with personal growth. I mean, it's true, when they always say, like, you know, you guys give yourselves a hand for being on this call or being at this event. That's really true, because obviously, like, you've heard this before, but it is true. You're here because you want to be better. You are actively, intentionally wanting to grow and be better. And over time, we all know that does do something. Over time, being on Mr. Thomas's calls over a year, that this does something. You do grow. You can look back and go, wow, that really changed my mind. And that's something to be proud of. That's something to say good job about, right? Going to our events, that does something for us. We grow, and we can see it outside of ACN too. How many of you guys can see from your growth of going to Mr. Thomas's calls and going to our events that you've seen it help you at work or in your family or something else, right? You can tell. Like, I was at work the other day, and something happened at work, and I heard Larry Raskin in my head, and a situation was going on, and something he says, it was happening currently when he says, occupy the space that you come into, like that was happening like at work. And I was like, whoa. So that is my call for today. Just put things in perspective, not getting into our heads, not having so much dialogue in our heads when we do this business. Just do what needs to be done, and keep growing, and make sure you celebrate those little wins, even if it's with somebody or not. Celebrate, wow, good job, like you've really grown. You've grown mentally, like I can tell, like, oh, I'm thinking differently. I can tell, oh wow, before I wouldn't have even asked for the favor, or before I wouldn't have even gotten on a call like this, or before I wouldn't even think about doing a presentation. Now I'm kind of like, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to step out, and I'm going to do like my first presentation, and not think too much about it, not critique myself. Or, hey, that's progress. What if you do a presentation, you're like, I didn't even critique myself. I just did it, and I moved on with the next thing I was doing. Stuff like that. And that's growth, to start thinking like that. So